So we are now at 10 o'clock. We will start our session. Good morning for those watching us here in Brazil. Good afternoon for those watching us in Switzerland. My name is Amanda. I am a Startup and Innovation Project Manager at Swissnex Brazil. It's a pleasure to have you all on board. And this session today will be basically a very informal conversation that we help you to understand a little bit better of what the AIT program is all about. So to kick off our meeting today, I would just like to acknowledge our speakers who are here with me. We have Rocio Robinson from the University of St. Gallen. Hello, Rocio. Thank you so much for joining. We have Ana Carolina from the startup network Agro. She's our alumni from 2018 edition. We also have Eric Garcia from the Swiss startup Rea from our 2019 edition. Hello, Eric. Thank you for being with us. To start our meeting today, I will share a little bit of what Swissnex is all about. So Swissnex is a global network that supports entrepreneurs, researchers, and innovators from Switzerland with the world. We are located in the United States, in China, India, and also here in Brazil, in the cities of Rio and Sao Paulo. And since 2014, we run one of our dear programs, that is the Academia Industry Training. And this year is the first time we are doing this informational session for AIT candidates. And we will basically go over the structure of the program, try to share with you a little bit of the idea of what you should learn after coming to this program with us. It is a cooperation with the Brazilian Ministry of Science, Technology, Innovation, and Communication Ministry. And the idea is that both Brazilian and Swiss entrepreneurs have a taste of each other's market. So with no further ado, I will hand over to Rocio so she can introduce her part of the program, giving you a general overview about the AIT and about the Swiss camp. So Rocio, the stage is yours.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our AIT webinar info session today. So I want to welcome you, everyone in Switzerland and everyone in Brazil. Bom dia. I know it's very early there and it's already afternoon for us. So I will start off by sharing my screen so that you can see some of my slides. Here we go. So my name is Rocio Robinson, and I'm the program manager for the AIT startups. We have the AIT Brazil and the AIT Colombia. My background is in corporate sustainability, but now I have been working with startups for the past 3 years. And our program is embedded at the leading house for the Latin American region and the University of St. Gallen's Centro Latinoamericano Suizo. So here we go. So the AIT Brazil, the Academia Industry Training helps Swiss and Brazilian startup talents to innovate and develop their entrepreneurial and business skills. Basically, our job is to find 20 startups, 10 in Switzerland and 10 in Brazil, and we help you to internationalize. So the main objectives of our program are to help you transform your high-level applied research into a market application, and to help you develop your business plan, to help you sort out questions that you might have related to your intellectual property. And also another important dimension of our program is to establish contacts with industry. So to help you network at an international level by fostering new partnerships and collaborations, both in Switzerland and in Brazil. So we have many partners. We work with the entire Swissnex network and different universities, as well as the startup ecosystems in Switzerland and in Brazil. So we also work with corporates and pharmaceuticals when possible, and whenever we have startups in the medtech and health tech industries. So basically what we want to give you the possibilities to really get to know the entire dimensions of the ecosystems in Switzerland and in Brazil. Here in Switzerland, some of our partners include the Swiss Startup Factory. As I mentioned, because we work so closely with different universities, then we work with the ETH Zurich. with the EPFL in Lausanne. And also we work with the Swiss Intellectual Property Institute, as well as the World Intellectual Property Organization in Geneva. We are a part of different accelerators, some accelerators that are quite specialized, either in medtech or health tech. And we do try to cover all the different regions in Switzerland. And I think that what is important for me to also mention is that we want to give you possibilities after the AIT. So we already introduced you during the program to bigger accelerators such as Mass Challenge and Seed Stars to help you with your internationalization process. And we are more and more working with InnoSwiss. So I wanted to also feature just a couple of the success stories that we have. We have this tremendous chance to be able to talk to Anna later on, and to Eric as well, and to hear all about their startups and their experience. But some of the other participants in this cycle also include Planted, which they do basically vegetarian chicken that has the texture and the feel and the taste of chicken. And they just went through their seed money round here in Switzerland, and they were able to get 7 million francs. So that's approximately $7 million. We also have Dipoli, who won another program's competition, and they were also able to win 150,000 francs. So basically, we have very successful, very skilled startups in Switzerland and in Brazil as part of our program. We are very fortunate. And just to mention that in the past, we have had 5 of our AIT startups who have been featured in the European Forbes 30 under 30 list. So now I just wanted to give you a very quick overview of what our week in Switzerland looks like. If you can see by this calendar, by this schedule, it's very tight, it's very busy. We do push you, and we try to raise the standard. So basically in the last Swiss camp a year ago, we visited Geneva, Lausanne, Basel, and Zurich. It was incredibly ambitious, but it was also a lot of fun. So we did visit the main universities in these different cities. We also spent one afternoon in CERN, in Geneva. So that was also quite fascinating. And then we have traditional Swiss dinners of fondue, sometimes raclette. So we do try to also introduce you to the culture as much as possible, and to offer aperos and different opportunities to network. But the foundation of the program is to really give you the skills that we hope will take your startup to the next level. So we hope that you really apply to our program, and that you're going to be able to spend 1 week in Switzerland and also 1 week in Brazil. Please keep in mind that the deadline is June 15th, and all of the information is in our webpage, aitstartups.org. So we hope that you will be featured in this photo at one point in the future, and we're really happy that you're with us now for this webinar. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And there we go.
Thank you so much, Rocio. I love this picture on the sugar loaf, really makes everyone excited about the program. Marcelo, if you can come back with the part with the Brazil camp presentation. Perfect. So now, as Rocio mentioned, the schedule for the Swiss part, I wanted to share a little bit of what is the program we have in Brazil. As you can see, is almost as packed as the one Rocio shared. But as she said, we try to make the most out of this week and give you a little bit of the skills and also the training you need to follow on your entrepreneurial career, your entrepreneurial journey. So as you can see here on the first day, we start off a little bit trying to show you how you understand yourself as an entrepreneur, how you can take the leap out of being a scientist also to become an entrepreneur, a scientrepreneur, as we like to say. We have a lot of pitch training, a lot of design thinking workshops, so you can better understand and get the skills you need in order to make your business model more appealing, more attractive, and all of that. We have a bunch of networking spread out through the week, both with our Swiss network and Brazilian Science Entrepreneurship Network here in Brazil. Then we go to legal aspects. We have corporate venture and how do you find funding for your startup. We try to give you as much insights from the market as we possibly can. We try to make you visit some labs over here so you can get in touch with the ecosystem of startups, of accelerators, of everyone who can support your startup to be the best it can. And on the final day, we have a final pitching session in which you present basically the outcomes of all of that training you had along the week. The idea is that you can be prepared to pitch your startup in no longer than 5 minutes to a group of evaluators who will give you feedback and all the information you need to take the next step in your startup journey. So if you can move on to the next slide, Marcelo, please. Just to share with the Brazilian candidates. This is on our website if you need to check in with more details, but you need to be a native Brazilian citizen, naturalized or foreigner with a permanent visa in the country. You have to hold a master's degree in or be doing your PhD or have it concluded in any area of scientific knowledge. You need to be connected to a Brazilian higher institution or research institution. You need English proficiency. We do not ask for any type of certificate or anything of the sort, but every part of the program is run in English. So it's very important that you can communicate in order to make the most out of that week. And finally, you need to be seeking to transform your research into innovative products or services to the market. Next slide, if you can show, please, Marcelo. Yeah, so this is the addresses for my personal account or Rocio's if you need to get in touch with us for any other information. And after that, I would like to hand over to Ana for her part of the presentation and encourage you to send any questions you have or just prepare them so we can go to the Q&A part right after Ana and Eric's speech.
Hello, I'll share my screen over here. Can you see it? Oh, it's on the, okay. Can you see it? Is everything okay? So I'll be very quickly here. Perfect. I'm Anna, I'm the CTO of Network Agro, and we are an agri-tech, and I will introduce you my startup. Our main goal is to solve one of the most complicated and important problems of the world, is to feed almost 8 billion people all over the world and at the same time to take care of our planet. And it's impossible to feed these, to produce this amount of food without the extension agriculture. And there is no extension agriculture without the agricultural deficits. And we can't just call these products agrochemicals or pesticides and think this is going to solve the problem. And how we are going to solve this problem? We need to use these products consciously. And to use these products consciously, we are here, Network Agro. So we developed 100% of our technology. We have an assertiveness of more than 95%. We are the only one to identify the agents who cause the damage before the damage itself. We generate the application files to all brands of spraying machines. The application happens only in the incidence points, what provides a reduction around 40% with the use of pesticides, inputs and everything with these chemical products, what increase the profitability of the farmer and his productivity. So this is what we do. And now I will show you our roadmap and how AIT was and is important for our startup. In the first 3 years, we had all the research, development, tests, and validation phases. In 2018, we launched our pilot with a few hectares monitored and clients, and we started looking for an investor. We had some contacts, we presented our solution in other events in Brazil, and we were talking to many people, but just with the AIT, with the final session pitch in Brazil, we had the confirmation. The investor we were talking to was there watching the final pitch session, and we just signed the contract in the end of the final pitch session. It was amazing. And so more than all the knowledge, the network we get in this intense week of work, the benefits can come really physical. So I started the week changing my mindset with a design thinking session and ended up my week signing a contract. It's amazing. And a second point really important to our startup is about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. With all the workshops and activities we had in the program, we could see even more the importance of all the social, economic, environmental impacts our startups, our projects, they must have. And we already had this idea, how important they were, but the AIT was, I don't know, but was the point. People show me what I needed to see. And after the AIT, we started paying more attention to all of these goals. And we ended up winning one of the SDG Tech Awards category. And I was named SDG Hero by Sustainary. And we are 22 superheroes all over the world. We are concerned about sustainability. And this is all about AIT. This is the importance of AIT. So join the AIT if you can. This is an amazing program, is an amazing opportunity. And I could be here talking for hours, but I just have 3 minutes and I think I already passed the time. But it's a really amazing opportunity.
Thank you so much, Anna. It really makes us very proud of you and of the program when we hear such type of testimonial coming from the ones who've joined us in the past. Just before we move on to Eric, I would just like to thank Professor Yvette Sanchez. She's the director of the Swiss Latin American Center at Haske. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, Yvette. It's a pleasure to have you here. So Eric, now handing over to you, please share your screen and tell us a little bit about REA.
Hello guys, thanks Amanda. My name is Eric Garcia. I'm the COO of REA, and I'm gonna introduce you pretty briefly about my project and why you should definitely apply to the AIT Brazil. Actually, all right, so first of all, let me speak to you about REA very briefly. So we're developing a medical device to allow pregnant women at risk of premature birth to stay at home instead of being in the hospital. I'm doing a very brief introduction of our product because I would really actually like to tell people about AIT. And I think that the first thing that I would give you as an advice is that if you're an early stage startup, like, should you really apply to the AIT? And it's very important because as founders, we're pretty busy most of the time, and you should definitely know if you have to invest the time on this. And if your answer is yes, you have to answer why. And I think that it has to be very clear in your idea that if you go to Brazil, you have to validate a market, you have to look for partnerships, you have to look for customers. And actually, I think these should be your 3 answers. And if you're not ready for that, seriously consider applying for the program because it's very intense, and you have to spend quite a lot of time into it. And of course, I mean, this is to improve your pitch. Like if you're planning to grow, you need to pitch very well. And if the travel to Brazil is not allowing you to create one slide, or at least improve one slide, then you're really not taking advantage of it. If you do go to Brazil, I would recommend you to define objectives. And for this, please validate your market when you're there. Like, ask to the correct people, like if you can sell your product in Brazil, and if you can, how much can you sell of it? And I would also advise you to look for partners. Like in our case, we're looking for hospitals to test their products. So like ask the questions like, would you like to do the study with me? What about doing this work with us? And take advantage of LinkedIn, send emails, send phone calls. You really should do all of these things. For me, it was important, this trip for my startup, because we went to visit a couple of doctors in the hospitals. Like we managed to get access to one of the biggest hospitals in Brazil, the Albert Einstein in Sao Paulo. So it's very easy to do this networking, especially for Swiss participants. It's quite different in Brazil than it is in Switzerland. Like in Brazil, you can really call a person 1 week before and you can get an appointment. Saying that, like, please do all of this work before you arrive in Brazil. Like, take some time before you arrive in Brazil. Don't wait until you're there to start scheduling all of these things. Please take advantage to learn and enjoy. The workshops that you get in the program are really good, like especially for early stage startups. Like, you learn a lot of things. As I said, it's very important to improve your pitch, and it's very easy to network in Brazil. It's much easier than it is in Switzerland. Please take advantage of that, and take some days to relax in your days off. Of course, I want to say it again. It's quite a challenging program. You really are busy all the time, so make sure you take some days off when you're there to enjoy. And finally, I would just like to say, like, go to Brazil to really win this contest. It's a great program, and really enjoy it and try to win. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. So now I would like to go over the Q&A session. I would like to encourage you to show your face a little bit here so we can get to know you a little bit. And if you have any questions, please just raise your hand, make a signal here, and unmute yourself to pose the questions. If you don't, we will have some questions we would like to bring in, but please, I would like to hear from you first. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so I remember, Anna, one question for you. I remember that during the AIT, the feedback you gave us is that the AIT was the moment you understood yourself as an entrepreneur that you were. Can you tell us what was the moment that you understood that? What was the mindset you had before, and how the AIT changed that for you?
Well, I always heard the word sciencepreneur, and I thought it was really fun because I was on my master's and I was thinking, okay, sciencepreneur is a good thing because I'm studying, I'm developing my project. It is a startup, but I'm studying, okay? I have my team, they are entrepreneurs and they are working, I am studying. But when I started passing the days in the program, and I think when I presented my first pitch in this rooftop that you are showing there, and we were really talking about our market and our startup value and our projections, and then I realized that I was an entrepreneur and I could be more than just a student to my team. I could be, of course, I was on academia, but I could be on the market too, and I could be this person, this value to my team. It was really important. And thank God it was on the second day of the program, so I could enjoy the week on a different way. It was fantastic.
Amazing. Thank you, Anna. João, welcome to the group. João was the organizer of the 2018 program. Happy to see you here. Eric, I also do have a question for you. So we know Rhea was present in the AIT India and in the AIT Brazil. And I would like to understand from you, how do you think it's important for Swiss startups to have this international exposure? What do you get from this type of camp that you wouldn't get only by staying in Switzerland?
Well, first of all, Switzerland is a very little market. So whenever you're speaking about revenues, you cannot just consider the Swiss market. If you want to aim high, you have to go for other type of markets. Brazil is quite big too, and India is also big. I mean, just for the amount of people living there, and for us, it was important to know if we could actually sell in these countries. So I think it's very important for Swiss people to go outside of Europe and to start thinking about other countries, especially if you're tackling like humanity problems like these development goals of the UN, such as Anna. It's very important to go abroad and explore and how you can actually help other people.
Thank you, Eric. Amazing. Rocio, do you have questions?
Yes, I do. So thank you once again to Anna and to Eric for featuring their startups and also the impact that the AIT program has had for you as entrepreneurs and for you and for the startup. So maybe I'll go back to Eric a little bit in tandem to the question that Amanda asked, and then maybe you can give us an idea more concretely how you were able to validate your market. So what does that mean, for example? So if you can tell us, I mean, did it mean for you more visits to hospitals, or in other words, you spent 1 week in Brazil, and you did mention in your presentation this very good advice that especially early stage startups should look into validating their market. If you can just give us a little bit more of a concrete example of what that meant for you.
Yeah, for sure. So whenever we're pitching, we're having a question regarding our product, like specifically, so we're doing this product for obstetricians, and people were wondering if obstetricians would actually use a tool like the one we're using, right? And so, because it's quite high tech. And for me, it was important to go to Brazil and to go to India and ask, like, hey, do you know about this technology? And just by getting the yes from a doctor in Brazil and in India, I can prove to investors in Switzerland, like, hey, listen, this is not like something super high tech that only fancy people, fancy doctors in Europe will actually get. You see, this is something that doctors in Brazil and in India are actually using. So it's quite a need. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as well, just to add a little bit more on that, in Switzerland, we couldn't find like these big NGOs to support other people like you have in Brazil, for example. Like we got contact with the 2 biggest NGOs to support premature babies in the country, and it was super easy to knock on their doors and to speak to them and actually to get endorsed by them. See, that's also quite important. Well, at least it's quite important for us. Yeah, I would say that's it.
Wonderful, thank you. I think maybe two brief comments from my side. One is that everyone should also feel free to ask a question in English or in Portuguese. We will also be taking some questions in Portuguese if you would prefer to ask those questions in Portuguese. And I think it's with the AIT startups, our cohorts always include many different industries, many different verticals. So in the past, we have had startups that work with drones. We have had startups that are in the medtech and health tech industries. We have had startups that have worked with renewable energy, such as solar panels and batteries, very simple batteries, for example. So we have had startups in most industries at this point, from most verticals, also the cement industry, for example, construction. So we do encourage you to fill out the application and to give us an idea as to what kind of startup you're thinking about creating. And I think that definitely we do try to give you some very practical hands-on tools, such as canvassing and other skills acquisition, so that you can work, as I mentioned before, with intellectual property, with unit economics. But there is a big dimension that separates us from other programs, for example, and that one is related to social entrepreneurship and sustainability. For us, it is very important that you become well acquainted with the sustainability development goals, for example, and that you do think about the social impacts of your startup, even though that may not be 100% the focus. But what we really try to do is to also put it on the table to help you think how your startup is related to sustainability, and also how you could incorporate the sustainable development goals if they were not in your radar before. And for someone like Anna, she mentioned in her presentation that this did end up making a big difference. So I congratulate you, Anna, as well, for really taking some of the practical training that you received with us and then making it a part and a focus of your startup, and even becoming a sustainability hero in that sense. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more, Anna, how you plan to continue working with sustainability in your startup?
Okay, in our startup, our main focus, our main goal is to reduce the use of defensives, and then we reduce the use of water and all these things. So it's, in everything we do, we have this sustainability thing with us, and it's our, I don't know, it's the focus of our startup. So everything we do is related to sustainability. And these impacts, social, economic, and environmental, are really related, because we do these things to reduce the use of chemicals, the water, the gas, and everything, to improve the economic situation of our client, and to improve the economic situation of the city this client lives, and everything related. So I am working with this sustainability thing, not just related to environmental, not just save the planet, but save the ecosystem in general, not just, of course, the planet is our main goal, but I want to save the planet, the client, the economic, and the world. So we have lots of plans to keep doing sustainability in our startup. This Sustainary is a platform of partnership who named these superheroes, and we are making a few projects to keep doing these actions of with these SDGs, and keep working with these things. I'm not expecting this question, but we have a few projects to keep doing these sustainability projects.
Fantastic, congratulations one more time.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Rocio. Does anyone have any other question they would like to come in?
Yes, I am.
Hey, John, go ahead. The stage is yours.
Very nice to see you all, guys. Very happy to see you, Amanda. And I'm very happy to see how are you working with your company after AIT. And I would like to know what do you think, or how do you think that AIT helped you in the process that you're living after AIT? So if you can just put some bullet points, what do you think it was good or what was not good? What could change? What helped you to change in your career path or in the path of your company?
It of course made not just me, but the startup more mature. Of course, we brought tons of baggage. We learned a lot. We know people all over the world, and we have a real bigger network. So it's, I think, people and knowledge, and we are really mature. And the second thing is Swissnex and the AIT program is a great, how can I say it? When you say you are part of a program like this, people give, they know the credit this program have. So when you say you are part of it, they know what expect. So you are a great startup because you were part of it. And so I think it's more important for us to do a great job, because I was part of the program, so I have to carry the name with you guys of the AIT, of the Swissnex. And well, we got the first investor we were looking for. It was our first step. It was really important. And I think for now, I think it is this people, network, knowledge. We are for sure more mature, and I think it is this.
Thanks, Ana.
Can
So,
I ask a question?
sorry, Pedro, let me just go to one question here about the process itself that came in from Angelo, and then I will hand over to you, okay? So Angelo is asking he's saying that he has two researches with two academic spin-offs that are independent but connected in some way. So can apply for all idea or just one spin-off. Basically, you're saying you have two projects and you want to know if you should apply for the whole thing or if you should separate one project to the other. Ideally, you should separate it and come in with one idea of your startup so it can make it easier for you to work on the business model you're thinking of. Sometimes if you mix them in together, it might have different applications or different markets. You could use your idea, and that would make it a little bit more difficult for you to focus and profit for the whole journey we plan for the entrepreneurs throughout the week. So we would encourage you to apply with one. I'm sure the knowledge you get from one would also help you with the other, but for the sake of the clarity of the program, we would encourage you to apply with just one. Josio, do you have anything to add on that type of thing?
Yes, thank you, Amanda. Angelo, thank you very much for your question. I think that's a very relevant question, especially for the serial entrepreneurs. So it's nice that you have different ideas out there. It's nice that you're working on different projects. And we applaud that because we want to support you as an entrepreneur. For the purpose of the AIT Brazil, however, it is better if you do focus on one project, as Amanda said, because we take that exercise and we walk you through the whole process. We try to help you figure out the intellectual property issues. We try to help you really work on the pitch to give you these skills as to how to go in front of different types of audiences. And then once you know how to do that with one focused project, then hopefully you have the tools that can be transplanted to the other projects. So then we do encourage you to apply with one very specific project. Thank you for your question.
All right, so I will, okay. So the question that came in for Anna was the following. So Eric said basically that he had this opportunity to network with wider markets, being outside of Switzerland and outside of Europe as a whole. So it's the counterpart question of that one. Brazil is a huge market. You would already have all the clients you need in here. So why do you think the international experience was important for your startup? What does international exposure did positively for you?
It was curious for us because when we went to the Swiss camp, I had contact with Syngenta. It was a chemical industry, and in a first contact, the industry of agrochemicals, they think we are the bad guys for them, but it's not the truth. Okay, we can work together. In fact, we need to work together. And when we were there, I had a great talk with one of these guys of the Syngenta industry, and I could see that in other countries, these industries, they have a different thinking. They can see things different from here in Brazil. Here in Brazil, for example, the chemicals industry are not allowing none of us here talking about our solution because we are the bad guys. And when I was there, people were really listening to me and understanding and thinking that we really needed to work together. And I think when you go to another place, when you explore another market, people can see things differently and clearly, and you can expand your market and in a ways you had no idea you could. So it's not just the size of your market, but where you can enter on your market.
Amazing, Anna. Thank you so much for the answer. José, do you have any additional questions?
So maybe very briefly in tandem to what Anna just said, I think that one of the big purposes of the program is really to have this exchange. And in Switzerland, we have as much to learn from Brazil as Brazil has from Switzerland. So we really listen to both sides, and we really want that this collaborative spirit. We have a lot to learn from emerging markets, and we really want these two different perspectives to be represented. So this exchange is very important to us.
I have one last question for Eric. So for just for you to know, there is the possibility of more than one person per startup joining the program. And Eric had that experience because from REA, we had two representatives, Eric and Lulia Kassen, who is also in the founding team with Eric. Could you share a little bit of why you decided to come with two representatives, Eric?
Yeah, so we decided to put that investment from our side because so from my experience, I went before to India, and it was quite challenging to try to keep on with the program and also with the meetings that I was scaling there. So for Brazil, we decided just to go both, so we could share our tasks basically. While one was doing meetings, the other one was attending the program. And honestly speaking, like two heads think better than one. So even when we were there, we were actually able to discuss a lot. Like again, for us, validation of markets was quite important, and being in Brazil, having the two of us there, like it was very good for us to be very creative and to move forward. Yeah.
Thanks, Eric. Does anyone have any additional question before we move on to maybe our final remarks, if no more questions are in place? Okay, Perfect. So, Josio, I will give you the word so you can go on for some final remarks, please.
Thank you so much. Very quick question though. Did you want to show a video or no?
Oh, sorry, the video. We have a video we would like to show you. Thank you for reminding me of that. Marcelo, if you can come in with the video now. That was the 2018 edition, the one that Ana was on and also João was on here. Always makes me go back to that week. I think this is the 4th edition we are following on, right, Josio? You and I been joining for 4 years already. Okay, so now just one thing I would like to say from the video. You saw we have our camp both in Rio de Janeiro in this part of the Swissnex in our office, and also in São Paulo. And the idea is that we can expose you to as much of the Brazilian ecosystem as possible. So you get to know a little bit of Rio, a little bit of São Paulo. There are different opportunities, different ecosystems in both cities. So that's the whole idea, to have all of that. We don't know if it will be possible for this year due to the mobility restrictions of the COVID-19 situation, but we'll make our best to allow you to come to all the locations. So with that said, I would like to hand over to Josio for some final words on the Swiss side of the program.
Yes, so thank you very much for playing the video. I think it brought many smiles to those of us that were there. So as you can see, it was a good time to be had. It was a bit stressful and it's always very competitive and very jam-packed, but we also managed to have fun in there. I want to really thank Swissnex Brazil, Amanda, Philip, Marcelo, Pedro, and Joao for being here. Of course, certainly to Eric and to Anna, for our alumni, for presenting. Eric is still part of the program, for presenting today. I think my closing remarks are going to be quite straightforward. I highly encourage you to apply. The application process is very simple. You can find everything on the Swissnex webpage, as well as our AITstartups.org page. And the application process is quite straightforward. You have to just fill in the application, answer some questions, upload your CV, and then if you get selected, we invite you to a jury day where we basically just ask you more in-depth questions about your startup and you as an entrepreneur and what kind of impacts the program might have for you. And then if you get selected, if you are one of the 10 startups in Switzerland and 10 startups in Brazil that get selected, then we bring you for 1 week for the 1-week camp in Brazil and the 1-week camp in Switzerland. All the flights, hotel accommodations, and food expenses are paid. So the program does cover all of those expenses. We are funded, it's bilateral collaboration. We are funded by the Swiss and Brazilian governments. So in essence, it's a scholarship to foster this collaboration and this exchange between our two countries. And at one point, Eric said, go to Brazil to win. And I think he was also referring because we have the innovation grant, the AIT Innovation Award, where so that's at the end of the program. Basically, the Swiss startups pitch in the final pitch. The Swiss startups compete against each other. And the Brazilian startups compete against each other. So the 10 Swiss compete against the 10 Swiss, and the 10 Brazilian compete against the 10 Brazilian. And the winner of the Swiss startups receives 10,000 Swiss francs to further their project. And the winner of the Brazilian startups normally receives 10,000 reais to also expand their project. So everything is in our website. I highly encourage everyone to apply. And if you have any questions, our contact information is there. So please don't hesitate to write to us. And I really look forward to welcoming you in Switzerland and seeing you in Brazil.
Thank you so much, Rocio. I will not repeat the same information because it's all the same. The dates, the application process, everything is on our website. And as Rocio said, very straightforward. So please access the webpage to get more information. And if you have anything else, just write us. We are here to support you. Also wanted to thank Eric, Ana, Rocio to talk to us, for taking the time to talk to us today. It was great to hearing all of you. The AIT program is very close to everyone's hearts here at Swissnex Brazil, and we absolutely love having so many interesting and amazing people with us for the week that we host you in our houses here, both in Rio and São Paulo. So thank you very much for everyone who took the time. This presentation, this whole webinar is being recorded and will be available for all of you to access and share with your contacts on our website until the end of the week, most probably. So please, feel free to apply, to share the information with anyone you think might be interested as well. And see you in the jury days. Oh, Anna, do you like to say anything else as final remarks?
Yes, I would like to thank the opportunity. It's always a pleasure to talk about the AIT. For me, it was an amazing opportunity to be part of this program. And I would like to invite you guys to meet more about Network Agro with in our website, social network. It's always Network Agro. We already have 5 offices here in Brazil, 1 in Paraguay. We are growing up, and if you want to know more, come talk to us. We are doing a really nice job, and I will be really happy to talk to you.
Thank you, Anna. Eric.
I would just like to close by encouraging all of you to apply, to really take advantage of the program, to stop thinking as a scientist, to think more about as an entrepreneur, and this program is great for that.
Thank you, Eric. So with no further ado, I would like to, yes, as Rocio is saying on our chat, deadline to apply is June 15. And with that, I would like to close our session for today. Please get in touch if anything was remained unanswered this morning. So thank you very much and see you in the AIT program. Bye, everyone.